Will the market go up or down? Should you lock in or float? Find out this and more with Master of the Markets, hosted by Barry Habib of MBS Highway. Brought to you by Planet Home Lending. Secured by private equity, Planet Home Lending might just be the largest wholesale lender you've never heard of. Our competitive pricing opens the door, but we know it's our knowledgeable and accessible account executives who will make Planet Home Lending your first and last look on every loan.
Welcome to another edition of Master of the Markets. I'm Barry Habib at MBS Highway. This is created exclusively for Mortgage News Network and brought to you by Planet Home Lending. Hey, what an exciting week with the Fed. What an exciting week with Jackson Hole. And you know what's really most impressive is that level that we've identified, that 2.18% on the 10-year Treasury. Boy, that held firm. Many attempts to break beneath it, but it held firm. Now, here's the thing. The trend line on yields is still declining. And we have this floor at 218. So you've got a declining trend line. You got the floor. Something's got to give this week. I'll tell you what, it's jobs week already, so the jobs picture might just decide which way this thing goes. We're going to be watching that very carefully this week. It's an action-packed week with inflation news, with housing news, and of course the big centerpiece will be the jobs report. If the jobs report's stronger than anticipated, well, mortgage bonds won't like it, 10-year Treasury yields won't like it, and you'll see us break out of this range. That'll be kind of a sea change for us. We'll have to be careful. We've been mostly in a floating stance, a floating bias most of the time, and that has served us very well. However, a break above that range, that we'd have to change our thinking now to be predominantly in a lock stance. So it's a pretty pivotal week. On the other hand, we had a lousy jobs number. We break underneath 218 on the 10-year Treasury, and there are some levels beneath it we have to get through. We're still in the downtrend, and we have a mindset more towards floating. Now, I mentioned housing this week, and housing news came out last week. It was so interesting because the data was pretty good, yet unbelievable how the media spins it. Well, specifically, our friend Diana Olick put such an awful spin on the numbers, and they really weren't that bad. Now, when you take a look at Diana Olick's history, of course, for the past 5 years, she's been pretty negative on housing, so she's kind of been married to this negative approach on housing, and it's unfortunate because all housing's done for the past 5 years since she's had that approach has done very well and gone up rather significantly, creating tons of wealth, and those who listen to her really missed out on a great opportunity. I've got to tell you that in looking at the dynamics of the news that comes out on housing, it just seems as if the media doesn't understand it. Let's talk some specifics. So first of all, when we take a look at inventory levels dropped year over year, 9%. Yet, because there is fewer homes for sale, the amount of transactions, the pace of sales slowed. So therefore, what you see is something called the month supply. Now that month supply actually increased because it takes amount of homes for sale divided by the pace of sales. And that really fictitiously gives you a reading that's worse than expected. Made it 5.8 months for sale on new homes, and also the same thing on existing homes, a little bit higher than anticipated. So the media doesn't understand that. And the media also doesn't get the fact that if you have fewer sales, that might be one thing for less transactions, but it doesn't mean weakness in housing. I think we'd all agree that there's no weakness out there in housing. I think that housing is very, very strong. Hey, we'll talk more next week after the data, after the jobs. And if you haven't done so already, might as well grab a free trial to MBS Highway. Or better yet, invest in yourself, invest in your business, invest in your future, invest in your realtors and clients. It's competitive out there. Beat your competition. We'll help you do it. MBS Highway. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Feel the difference of what a decentralized operation makes. With account executives in your backyard and in your office, not hidden in a call center, we know what you and your borrower desires based on your market, and will be in your office helping you through every step of the way. Those are just a few of the differences our clients see every day with Planet Home Lending Wholesale.
This is Mortgage News Network.